Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about how I think that the market could look out for the next 3 months and if we could see a potential crash in the next 3 months. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so first I want to talk about the 5-year bond yield. This I'm using the 5-year just because it correlates more with the stock market and it moves the stock market more than the 10-year does. And so if we look at the chart since March of 2020, it has dropped a lot in that time period of March to August, as we can see here in this line. And then in August, it actually started to go up till the end of December of 2020. But then recently, in January, I believe, we saw it also going up on the year. And then another time that we could see this, let me draw this line, is when we see recently in, I believe, February of the second week of February, where tech was very high at that point, and then we saw a lot of sell off in that time period. So yeah, around the second week of February, we saw that it has gone up very substantially, and if we zoom out of this, we can see that it has the biggest spike that it has out of all three of the lines that I have drawn here. Obviously, the one from August being the smallest, then the one since the beginning of 2021, and now in since February. But yeah, looking at the lines that I've drawn for the bond yields, since the start of 2021, this line right here, it has shown a very big hike in the bond yield. And now again in March, or the last weeks of February, we saw that it is actually going even higher. As we see right here, it actually goes higher than the one that we have from the beginning of the year. And this is a very big hike since the one that we saw from August to the end of the year, where it was only going around to 0.75, but obviously it's now at 0.866. And so, in basic words, we could see that bond yields could be rising for the next couple of months or so, and we could see stocks drop in that time period. So, a big event that happened kind of recently was when the NASDAQ actually jumped 4% in the week of the March 9th, I believe, when there was no news about what was going on in the economy. There was no news about what could have spiked the NASDAQ. And then everyone was very excited that, oh, the market is going up, bond yields are actually going down. And the bond yields were down a little bit, but then it was kind of a bull trap because now this week we're obviously going down and down again. And if we continue to see this type of movement by the bond yields, then we could see the stock market having a little correction in the next 3 months. And obviously, with the CPI data that has been announced lately, especially with the Fed talking yesterday on March 17th, is that Jerome Powell said that inflation will have a little spike in the year of 2021. And so this made a lot of people nervous and scared to why, oh my gosh, look at the inflation rate for this year. It's going to be going up so much. And so when people see this information, they say that they are scared and want to sell out of the top growth stocks at the moment. And that's kind of what we saw with a lot of the tech stocks in February, when tech was at an all-time high, I believe, and sold down, and the Nasdaq actually was down 10% at one point. And so obviously for the next 3 months or so, people are going to say that inflation is going to be really, really bad because obviously there were a bunch of stimulus printed in the last year, and also a lot of money was printed to get us outside of the pandemic and to recovery. And now people could be selling their stocks just to take their profits. But I believe by 3 months in June or July, people could realize that oh, inflation isn't that bad. It's just a spike of 1 year. And I kind of talked about this in last night's video when I talked about what the Fed was going over and inflation rates, interest rates. And so the Fed kind of said that inflation will be a little high this year, but then will settle down in 2022 and 2023. And then once the people realize that in 2022 and 2023 the inflation won't be that bad, then we could see that the market could be going up and up from there on. And so a lot of people are also talking about the dip and how they want to get their earnings or profits and then get out and sell. Or it could be just people that are losing money either way. And those are the people that can't handle their losses and are scared at the moment for where the market could go in the next 3 months. But in my opinion, not a financial advisor or stock analyst opinion, I believe that right now is actually the time to buy a lot of these growth stocks. And this is especially with the fact that you might be getting a stimulus. You could invest that. There's a lot of ways to invest right now as the market keeps on going down. And a very big point is to not get nervous during this time and actually be confident in buying some of these stocks, because you could look at it. Let's look at an example like this. Imagine you're going to a store and you see a 30% sale. You're obviously going to probably try to buy that because you're spending less money. But if we look at that with stocks, we could see the same thing, that stocks are 30% down. If they're 30% down, then it's basically 30% off of what it was at before. And that's the theory of buying low and selling high. And so you might be wondering which stocks that you could buy or how to determine which one you want to buy. So you could go into the stock and you can test how you think about the stock and how it's valued at the time that you're trying to buy it at. You can go over the charts and see how much it has been down in the last month or so. Like, a lot of stocks right now are down a lot in the past month. And a very big question to ask yourself is this stock undervalued? So if the answer is yes, then you could possibly buy the stock. But another big thing is that if you buy this stock and you say yes, it is undervalued, and you still buy, but it continues to go down, don't be scared to buy more. Because think in a way that the stock is actually getting even more discount from what you bought it at, and eventually there will be a recovery for that stock. And a big important note again is that you might not want to buy some hype stocks, as they call it, as, like, for example, we could talk about GameStop, which had gone up, I believe, 300% at one point. Then when it hit the top, it dropped down to what it was before, even lower than before the short squeeze. And that's something that you don't want to get yourself into, because if you buy at that 300 range, it goes to 500. Say you don't sell, you're too greedy to sell, and then it drops down, say, to $50. You just lost a lot of money right there. So in basic words, I want you to do your own research and before buying any of the stocks that are interesting to you and you believe could go up in the next year or so. But yeah, in the next 3 months, we could see a small market crash. I could see it go to maybe not 10% down, but close to 10% down, just as the NASDAQ was, because we see the hike in bond yields. So another point is that it might not actually be until 2022, till June, I believe, where we could see a bullish mark in the market. Like, yeah, your stock might go down now, but if you hold that until 2022, when people say, oh, inflation is not that bad, it's just one spike in 2021 and then it'll come back down gradually in 2022 and 2023, then once people realize that inflation is not as bad, the market could be going green and see a lot of great deals. Well, my webcam just died, but I'm gonna wrap it up here. So my strategy in the next 3 months or so, when we see that the over exaggeration of inflation, is that the short term is not going to be good for now. And instead, in my opinion, as a not even as a stock analyst or financial advisor, I would hold stocks until 2022 of June or July, when they say that inflation is not that bad, and 2022 does not have that bad of inflation or interest. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys want next, and I'll catch you then.